What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of BOP. This is your boy AD. We got Leo in the building. And we got our special guest in the building. I'm going to let him introduce himself. What's up, bro?
What up? It's your boy Keezus, man. One half a man here on our podcast. Shout out to the community, MHN Nation. Happy to be in the building with BOP. Big fans. Y'all run that shit, man.
Yeah, so we in here to talk about this preseason game, week 2 preseason game the Texans had against the Los Angeles Rams. When they came out victorious, 24-20. Jeff Driscoll, the man again, the awesome Jeff Driscoll leads down another end of the game drive and scores a touchdown to win the game. So, I want to get y'all thoughts about the game. What do y'all think? What impressed y'all, or, what stood out to y'all in that game last night?
Well, shit, I think honestly, man, all the talk about Nico, bro, it was good to see him go out there and just make plays, bro, in the first half, bro. It seemed like he just, from the beginning, I think Mills' first completion was to him. And, so to see him, he had 4 catches for about 48 yards, it was impressive to me, you know what I'm saying? Especially that last, the way he adjusted to that ball in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed that shit, bro. To me, that was the highlight for me, bro. What about you, Keezus?
I enjoyed the fact that the defense fought back. I think we had talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. The simple fact that the defense was fighting back, made plays. You saw flashes of things that are to come. Mm-hmm. And we just mentioned about Davis Mills, even though it wasn't the best showing, but the completions he did make were strikes. Mm-hmm. How we like to call them, dots. You feel me? So, and there's some things to clean up, but and mainly I wasn't too impressed by the offensive line play. I thought it would be a little bit more dominant, even though we didn't have all our pieces. But for the most part, it wasn't a subtraction from what they built on from game 1. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was a repeat performance from Lovie Smith for clock management, game management, him showing, the competency that we've been looking for with the head coach, especially with what we came out of with, I'm not even going to say his name because it's going to start a whole nother David Culley. I'm going to say David Culley, but that's good to see. At both at the end of the game once again and at the end of the half once again was able to position the team in a way that you're able to go down and get points in both times, and he did it in game 1 as well. So that was just exciting to see, and just the positives of the team, the guys that probably you don't think make the roster are showing out, and I talked about it on the last episode and on what I wanted to see from certain players. I want to see repeat performances. I want to see a repeat performance from Blake Cashman. And he, pretty much had a decent game. He just, wasn't out there as much to make those flashy plays. So that he made in the game 1. But I think if you watch the game and rewatch the game, Blake Cashman had a repeat performance. And then I wanted to see more from Jalen Camp. Jalen Camp had opportunities, but Jalen Camp didn't execute on those opportunities. And that, that's something that I wanted to see. He did make one critical third down catch in the fourth quarter, third or fourth quarter that was, where he boxed out the DB and caught that comeback route. And we didn't get to see Johnny Johnson. We didn't get to see Dameon Pierce. Those guys did not play. And another guy I mentioned was Graylin Arnold, who, to me personally, solidified himself on this team by, making the plays, being around the ball, playing damn good on special teams, showing that he's an asset. Right. Showing that he's an asset in all phases of the game. So those things that I wanted to see was repeat performances is from the coach on down, as far as clock management, game management, and those certain players that we talked about last episode. But those, we talked about the good. Let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the bad. We're going this segment, we're gonna switch it up. We talked about the good, we're gonna talk about the bad, and we're gonna talk about the ugly, man. So what was the bad? What did y'all see that should be improved on?
Yeah.
Nah, Keys, you take this one first, bro. You take
again, offensive line play. I didn't particularly like that we called 2 or 3 run plays in a row. Coming out, I thought that we were maybe trying to establish Mac a little bit too hard, like trying to let him. I don't know if we were trying to send a message to our fans that he is the starter or something. But it was a few times where I just felt like he was just being force fed, and I'm just like, well, this doesn't make any sense. So it's hard to get a lot of bad out of this game. Besides bad field positioning, just giving up the sacks. I know we're gonna have issues with running quarterbacks. Because the Rams quarterback, what is his name here? And I'm looking at it right now. Walford.
Walford.
He got some wheels on him.
Oh yeah.
And he made some plays with his feet. But that also tells me that if you're not a running quarterback and you're stationary, you're gonna have some trouble this year coming into H-Town.
Yeah, man. I think like personally with me, bro. My bad. I got this shit going on. I'm looking at this shit. Let me pause this shit. I think like one of the main things I seen, bro, was Max Sharpen getting pushed right back into damn King Green. I mean, what the fuck? I'm saying that shit because I want King Green back. Obviously, it's just, I don't want to see that this season, man. I want Mills to be successful, bro. And I mean, there's no way you could be successful when your fucking, left guard is getting like prison love back into your fucking face. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do this shit. We talking about building a new culture in Houston. We can't be out here getting like, little boy, you know what I'm saying, like on national television like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree, Keezus. That's something that I didn't like there.
Yeah. And the only reason why I mentioned, I could have mentioned names or whatever, but I try to keep them as a unit.
Yeah. My bad, man.
No. It's not as selfish of me because, we all play football, and I remember being on both sides, and one person on defense mess up, and it's the whole defensive line.
Yeah.
Not the linebackers, not the cornerbacks. D-line, what happened right here?
Right.
Well, if they would have covered a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I go either by numbers, or if something happens, it's everybody's fault. Because guess what? Either you didn't make a read, you didn't pick up your man, or I thought that you were going to be doing this and you didn't, and I got blown up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I just straight up said it because like he was getting outmanned. I mean, dude getting spin moved, pushed back into Davis. I think one thing that Davis has to do is if he sees that coming, bro, like the sack fumble, bro. I mean, just if you could get away, like you gotta make sure you see it coming early, like you can't, because that's not gonna be insert 64 from like the Ram preseason. Like you're gonna play Jeffrey Simmons and and DeForest Buckner, 2 of the best, interior D linemen in this league 4 times this year. So sometimes, bro, just take the sack. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're on, that deep on your side of the field. That's one thing I'll say. And as far as the defense, like I think we were talking in the pre-show just about how Lovey very play so many variations of coverage. I think that was good. But again, like, the defensive line, I think like we gotta Roy Lopez, played, he had flashes. I just still wonder if, when it comes down to it, when we playing like a real running team, we don't have that much size on the D line. Like, will it be able to hold up over time? You know what I'm saying? Is Hennish that guy? Is Damian Daniels that guy? Or Damian. How you say his name? Is it Davis or Daniels?
He's off the team. You talking about Damian
God
Daniels?
damn it, my man, fuck. But yeah. Well, whatever. I just
you talking about
yeah.
Happens to the best.
You talking about Damone? You talking about Damone Harris?
Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. I want a goddamn true fucking hog.
You want a fat boy.
I want a motherfucker in the middle of that. I don't want. It's one thing I don't like. I don't like to get my lunch money taken. And I feel like there might be some times where, what I'm saying, we might get pushed around a little bit. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's a developing team, and but I mean, that's some things I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, D, what you got on the ugly, man? Was it the bad or we on
the bad right now? Let me do the bad. Let me talk about, because see, I'm gonna call people out. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Max Sharpen was ass. Jimmy Morrissey was ass. We can go on. We can even talk about the second unit. Justin McCray, he played a little bit better, but he's still playing like ass. And then, that offensive line. That was the bad. And then you got to look at the secondary depth. When you're talking about anybody outside of Steven Nelson and Derek Stingley, we in some damn trouble. If you expect Isaac Gidham to come out there and do something, think again. If you want, if you want Fabian Moreau to do something, think again.
What our kick returner also?
I was getting to him, Chester Rogers.
Yeah,
that's part of the bag. Chester Rogers, I made a joke on Spaces last night that he got cut at halftime. that they walked his ass on out, to the plane. Say, go on home, bro. It's about over with. Don't be surprised. And I said it as a joke, but do not be surprised if he's one of those Tuesday cuts. It's coming. So that was the bad. And I would really like to start off with the ugly. Because y'all all know where I'm going with the ugly. And the ugly is that sorry ass Ross Blacklock. Ross Blacklock is underwhelmed and has disappointed to the point now that he was playing with four stringers. They at this point in time, he was playing so bad that they was like, let's just get him out there and get some tape on him. They played him at defensive tackle at 3-tech. They played him at nose. They played him at left defensive end. They played him at right defensive end.
One tackle.
And really that one tackle wasn't a true tackle. That was somebody else that made the tackle, and they gave him credit for it.
One tackle, one assist.
So let's you played
that's a BOB pick, huh?
Yep.
That's a Bill O'Brien pick. He's one of the last Mohicans of the Bill O'Brien draft pick era. Him and Max Sharping, who we already talked about, was bad. Those two are the last drafted. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the last two drafted players, or maybe we got a few more players. But from that bad class, those bad class of drafts, those last few, those two are still on the team. So,
so Hennish, you got love for Hennish though, right? You think Hennish is gonna make it?
Yeah. Hennish, or I think it's pronounced Heinisch. Heinisch is, to me, I do think Heinisch is a productive player. I think he makes that. He kind of solidified himself because of the effort. As much as people.
Yeah, for a big dude that he's moving.
Yeah, and much people want to talk about JJ Watt, his selfish player, this and that. One thing JJ Watt had was a motor. I'm not nowhere near comparing this guy to JJ Watt, but what I am saying is that he has a motor, and that that motor is what's going to get him, on this roster and make this team.
Agreed.
And for him to get constant pressure inside, for him to be that backup nose that nobody was expecting. And it's one thing to do it in practice, because let's be honest, all those reports about Ross Blacklock, oh, he's doing this in practice, he made this play in practice, he's doing this in practice, and then he goes out on the field and doesn't do shit. And whereas Hennish is not talked about hardly at all during practice. Even when we went out there, he really was, just almost like another guy. But when he got it, when he gets in the game, when he got in the game last week, when he got in the game last night, you can tell that he turned it on and he is somebody to watch out for.
Right. And the great thing about that is that he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get smarter. He's going to make a lot more of those disrupting plays up the gut, being 6'2", 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So give it a chance. I think that he could do so. That's why I mentioned his name first, because I'm kind of high on him myself as a high effort, high motor guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was around a lot of plays too. Although coming in late, you 6'2", 300, you got to drag a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen him around the ball a lot. I seen him chasing down plays, putting a lot of good stuff on tape to where it's like, am I gonna let him get away and go to another team when all he needs to do is hit this weight room?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get up to 320.
Mm-hmm.
But you solid, you pushing. All you do is push the good. That's how you're gonna get your next paycheck with the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching. That's how you're gonna get your next check. You hit that weight room, gain you about another 20 pounds, and you have to have 2 linemen block you, and we'll be solid.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be 6'2", 300, still kind of slabby with horrible technique. Because if you had great technique, you would have been a higher pick.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets with that, if he gets his technique now, I think we got something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. And I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, we see a lot of great teams and great defenses fine. You know what I'm saying? The center of their defense, in the late rounds and undrafted,
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely possible. And I mean, now we just need to keep seeing these good things. And now we got to see it translate to regular season play and then, moving on. I think that, and if we can find a guy that like you said, bro, you don't need a flashy nose tackle. You don't necessarily need, nose tackle to be like the most athletic. You don't need a Jordan Davis to have a successful run defense, obviously it helps, but I mean, if he could just, like you said, bro, command double teams and
a player like Gary Miles is few and far in between.
Yeah.
That's our prototypical Aaron Donald. In the middle. I also can get you double-digit sacks, but I also can get you double-digit tackles for loss.
Right, exactly.
And I can get you double-digit QB pressures. And that's all. If he can be half of that, we'll be fine. And like I said, I'm sorry to jump in there, but just add to what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, bro. So that's all I gotta say about him. Yeah, Ross, bro. I mean, when you got guys coming in, that's he's another guy that's like a tweener. Is he a 1 or is he a 3? He doesn't pass rush good enough to really be a 3. He's not stout enough to be a 1. And I mean, hell, it's just kind of fucked up,
Okay.
And to me, I think the fact that you have him on the roster kind of hindered you from going out and getting it, I don't want to say it hindered you, but it made you pause on going out to get certain players in free agency because you hope that Ross Blacklock would take a step in his 3rd year and turn out to be a player after being drafted in the 2nd round. That was the hope. And now that he, is not, proving himself to be, nothing more than just a guy on the roster or holding the roster spot, now you almost have to move on, and now you have to scavenge the waiver wire, for defensive tackles, and you got to scavenge the waiver wire for people to replace him, and kind of rely on undrafted free agent rookies, and Kurt Hinish and stuff like that. That to me, that's disappointing. That's deflating. If you're in the front office or you're in a coaching staff and you had high hopes for this guy, who shows you all this promise in the off season and the weight room, shows you all this promise, during practice, and then gets on the field and consistently lays eggs.
Mm-hmm.
That is, kind of disheartening, and it kind of makes you, want to reevaluate what the hell, is going on. And it kind of makes you say, okay, let's eat it. Let's eat this pick. He was a second round pick. We gave him multiple chances.
Right.
Let's eat this pick and let's move on. And I think that goes on with a lot of the signings. And I think Nick Caserio has that mindset that he's willing to cut players. We saw last year with Shaq Lawson. You brought him in. He was our biggest free agent acquisition. Yeah. He was supposed to solidify that defensive end position. Couldn't do shit during preseason, and they let him go. I see multiple guys like that this year. Andy Janovic, fullback, you brought in, you paying $4 million. MJ Stewart, DB, you brought in, paying $3.5-4 million. I'm trying to think of another guy. Is somebody else I mentioned?
We just a cornerback, I think, but I think he's not dead weight though.
No, not those guys. I'm talking about the where they spent, pretty decent amount of money, anything over $3-4 million, that they spent in the off season with these guys that aren't going to make the roster.
Mm-hmm.
If Kamu Grugier-Hill didn't have the game that he had, he would have been another one of those guys that should have been let go. Especially with the emergence of Blake Cashman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's things like that Nick Caserio, when he's shown a mentality to do so. Eric Murray is another one that's sitting there and is making $6-7 million a year that needs to be cut. It's guys up and down that roster that we have that we signed, either Bill O'Brien era or Nick Caserio era that don't pan out or didn't pan out. So, it's a lot of bad, but it's a lot of good as well. Cause I'll just think if we didn't have that special teams fumble.
Yeah.
Just think if we didn't have that offsides penalty at the very first drive with Dari.
Yeah.
Just think about all those different things that, happened, that the score probably wouldn't even been that close. Because the defense played, now we're going back into the good, the defense played damn well, and they're showing in both preseason games that they're very well coached.
Oh yeah, but I think that's what we were hoping for. I think that's what, if everybody had their last dollar in here, that we were betting on. We were betting on that the defense was going to make a way throughout Lubby's tenure, and hopefully more so while we're trying to grow a culture. I don't think that's out of the realm that, you can say what if, but low key kind of expect something to happen on defense. I don't know about y'all, but I'm watching the game. I'm like, I don't know, but I know something gonna happen. I know the defense gonna make a play. Maybe not this drive, but I know because of the way they're being coached and the type of culture that they're letting us see when we do Inside the Texans and all that, and how Lovey speaks and the defense speaks at press conferences, that they expect to make plays. Now, I get it. It might be status quo and every team says that, but with this defensive head coach, he has the proof in the pudding that he's had teams that make plays and cause turnovers. And that's something we haven't had here in a long time.
Yeah, and like, it just gives me a lot of hope going forward, man, because like we was talking in the pre-show shit, like, last year that was a very bare bones roster. You know what I'm saying? There was not that much talent on that roster. Like, we have no players that are like at the top of their positions on defense, and now you have a corner that has elite athleticism. You have a chess piece safety. In Petrie, you have a guy who hasn't really played that much yet, like in Harris. You know what I'm saying? Who has speed. You know what I mean? So like, we're beginning to see like, you know, a roster that like the pieces that Lovie Smith will use to like, you know, we're starting to have, you know, top end talent again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're starting to have higher draft picks again. I mean, it's crazy that, you know, we traded away all them picks and then we drafted bad. You know, it like we're about to actually be able to look and be like, well, man, like we have a number one cornerback. You know what I'm saying? We have a, you know what I'm saying, one of the most athletic linebackers. You know, we have a safety. Like I can't remember the last time we actually had a safety where I was like, God, like dang, like you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one year we had Matthew.
Yeah, and that was only 1 year. That was
you saw the difference. What a good. You be like, well, okay, is that what good safety play look like? Because I like it.
Yeah,
and it took me for a loop a lot of times because I'm like, God, why is this motherfucker in every play? Shouldn't he be back there? Because he's Tyrann Mathieu. That's because that's what he does. He's able to, you know, do a little bit of both. And the way Petrie's size looks like that, he'll be able to go get a deep ball. Now, you might cut in front of him, he might not catch you. He straight line your ass. It's lights out. It's lights out, man.
I know we talked about it. We talked about Derek Stingley. Let's focus on Derek Stingley for a second. What did y'all see from Derek Stingley? I know he had the one pass breakup, but what did y'all see from Derek Stingley in his, you know, because I think he played a quarter. What did y'all see from Derek Stingley, and you know, what are y'all thoughts on him? You know, his first live action in a preseason game.
I mean, swagger, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, swagger, like, you know, confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like he just like, you know, he looks like what you think a number one corner should look like. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that like, you know, sometimes the great corners are just, you know, you don't really see, you know, I don't think he had like, it wasn't like he had a crazy pick and it was just like amazing, but you know, just the way he moved, you know what I mean? There was even on the play that like, you know, people were like, oh, he got cooked by UDFA. I mean, just the fluidity that he moved with, you know what I'm saying? Like he ran, it was like a specific part in there where like, he like, you could see that like he chose to like turn and run. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he chose to turn and run, bro. And it just seemed like it was no hiccups, no wasted motion. And so like it just gives me hope moving. And then another thing I seen was, man, he wasn't, you know, all this talk about tackling. I mean, there was one play I literally was just watching, man. Like it was the guy caught something in front of him, man, and you know, he put his head down and hit him. And I mean, the linebacker was coming. He didn't duck anything. You know what I mean? So like I think that, you know what I'm saying, like, although like, you know, it wasn't like a groundbreaking game, but man, I think like he's a quiet guy. We all have heard and know, like, but I think that he definitely has like a quiet confidence to him, man. That, and it's gonna be interesting, a great building piece, you know, moving forward, bro.
Yeah, when I looked at him and I'm gonna be honest, which I hate when people say I'm gonna be honest. Because you should always try to be honest, you know. But I thought he looked a little stiff. I thought that he did. I thought it took him a minute to get comfortable, which is understandable, but kind of not. If you're the second round pick, you're supposed to be used to the big lights. When you speak to, you know, him being fluid, I do think he's. And I do think he's a little thick for a CB.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to my CBs being a little smaller, little, you know, Glenn, what's our boy?
Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glennish, Dante Robinish. You know, more loose with it, more, you know, he did look a little tight. Now, is he explosive? When that ball's in the air, absolutely. So that might be the difference, but I don't know how long that lasts in the NFL. So, you know, I'm okay. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't do anything great. from the eye test, from what I got, he does. I mean, even at training camp, we talked about it. I always kept this opinion to myself because obviously he's a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say, well, because everybody have their preferences of how they like their cornerbacks built, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That look, everybody has it. Like I like big wide receivers. I like my receivers 6'3" and taller. I don't care, and I like my cornerbacks to be kind of almost like slinkies, like real small, quick, agile, quick twitch. I didn't see that from him, me personally. But I did see the explosiveness and the field awareness from that one play where he batted the ball, where he reached his opposite hand to bat the ball down. That was all explosion in reaction. I just don't. Like I said, and I'm gonna end it there because I don't want to confuse it too much. But for me, he's just not as shifty. He's a little thick for me, but no bad, no good on that one. So.
Yeah, I think it was just a kind of even kill game for him. It wasn't, people want to say, oh, he got burned on this route or this and that. I counter that with look at the coverage we were playing.
Right.
That kind of opened the door. We weren't playing man. The two passes that were caught on him or the few passes that were caught on him weren't because he got beat in coverage or anything like that. I think it was just that it was just the type of coverage that we were running.
Right.
Yeah, the call allowed that to happen. When we were playing man, you could see the difference that, first of all, the respect.
Although, can I make this point?
Go ahead.
So rewatching that play again. And another Twitter account pointed this out. And I'm just gonna bring it here because this is a discussion piece. So what they were saying was on that particular play, if I'm running cover 2 on the down and distance in a situation, Ike, the receiver comes towards me. I'm looking in the backfield towards the quarterback and seeing if anything's coming out of the backfield.
Yeah.
From that play, there was nothing coming out of the backfield. He should have dove on that play ahead of time and should have been able to be there to make a better play, knowing that you don't have anything coming behind it or getting getting underneath that crossing route that's in front of you trying to trick you. And somebody was saying that's a veteran. That's something a veteran CB would see and would have been there quicker. Not that he would have made the play, but he would have took a beeline to the wide receiver, knowing there was nothing coming out of the backfield, or it wasn't double wide on his side. And I thought that was pretty interesting. But like I said, grain of salt. But just putting that in your head, and I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't think about it.
And I'm okay with those kind of critiques and criticism because you drafted him 3rd overall and you expect him to be great. You expect him to be generational talent, as widely considered. That's what he is a generational talent at the cornerback position. Based on what he's done, what he did as a 17-year-old at LSU. 17, 18-year-old at LSU, what he was able to accomplish against big time talent at the receiver position. So, going against the receiver position. And like I said, it was an even kill game. I'm not going to get too high on him off one pass breakup. I'm not going to get too low on him, on certain mistakes or certain, issues that he had. But like I was saying before, he already kind of garners some respect because they didn't go to his side a lot. I think maybe he had maybe about 4 pass plays going his way.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was, over the middle on the right side. Stingley was strictly on the left side. If you're looking at the offensive side of the ball, that's strictly where he was on the left side. So, it is what it is with Stingley, man. It's a wait and see. Is he going to play the next game? We don't know. I hope so. I hope he gets, some more live game action. But there's a possibility that they're going to sit him out and just be ready for week 1.
Now he's gonna. The thing about it is he's gonna get a lot of action because, let alone him be on that side, but Jerry Hughes is on that side. So I don't think it's gonna be a lot of teams looking that way. Only if Jerry Hughes doesn't get home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty of this defense, to where, man, we got Jerry Hughes. We on what side? He on the same side as Stingley. So that means that at least 5 yards out and the right side of the field is locked.
Mm-hmm.
I know my quarterback not looking that direction, because if he does, he's gonna be spooked.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful thing to have. I just had to interject that.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
bad.
another thing I wanted to say too, Keezus, is it's crazy that you brought that up about like Stingley's build. Cause I remember, like, I can't remember who it was, but it was like another LSU legend, bro. Like when they first seen him, they was like, is he gonna be able to stay at cornerback weight? Cause he has such a big frame, you know. But like when you think about it and look at it, like, I mean, shit, he ain't like, if you look at Gilmore, like Gilmore kind of has that kind of build too with those. He has big calves and, like, you know.
But they press a lot over there too.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna be. I mean, shit, like it lets you wonder, and that's the interesting thing about it, because, like, bro, think about this shit before we move on.
No,
Like,
you're talking about Gilmore with the Patriots, right?
with the Patriots, yeah.
Okay.
Like he's kind of in that kind of, like, and that's why when people say no, he's not Dion, like, and people say Champ, and I just, you know, I think Champ is not. He's not Champ. Like
Champ was the epitome of what a
what you described, what you kind of
exactly, real springy, like, just like, you know, you wouldn't want him to be making tackles. That's how I want him to be built.
But Stingley is, you know, he's like, he built like a, I mean, he looked like he's not afraid to, and I think though, but when you think about it, bro, like, as we moving forward and as we gonna move on in this conversation, like, you know, think about like the as he, you know, he hasn't played for some time, as he you know grows as the year goes on, and then Lovey's growing, and then it gives you like such an infinite amount of possibilities to like what Lovey can do with him, because, you know, like you said, like, you know, he could go up and you know, he could play, but he doesn't have to though. He's you know, he's not gonna get bullied, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, it's hella interesting to see, like,
that'll help him definitely on deep balls, like I said. You know, you're gonna have to do jump balls, and him being thicker and more explosive, not exactly springy. That'll help him with those bigger receivers one-on-one down the field. But we're talking about the footwork of what's my boy that just went to the Raiders? Adams,
yeah.
You talking about? I just don't see him. So let's just move forward.
You know, I want to talk about Davis Mills and his performance. I know we touched on it earlier, but before we move into the Davis Mills conversation, let's do a, you know, around the league, you know, just catch up on the scores of the second week of the preseason games. Of course, the Texans beat the Rams 24-20. Just final, the Steelers beat the Jaguars 16-15. Jaguars had an opportunity to win the game, and they missed the game-winning field goal. 49ers beat the Vikings 17-7. The Tennessee Titans beat the Buccaneers 13-3. The Raiders beat the Dolphins 15-13. You had the Chiefs beat the Commanders 24-14. The Buffalo Bills put a 40 burger on the Broncos 42-15. The Lions beat the Colts 27-26. The Saints lost to the Packers. Packers beat the Saints 20-10. Then you had the games along. Another game yesterday was the Patriots and Panthers. Patriots beat the Panthers 20-10, and the Bears on Thursday night beat the Seahawks 27-11. You know, moving on to Davis Mills. There was a lot of criticism about Davis Mills' performance. You know, going into, you know, that first half. And people were kind of piggybacking that he really didn't do much that first preseason game when he was out there, you know, just, you know, 3 for 3, 14 yards, not much of anything, really didn't show nothing. Came in this game and people were expecting the playbook to kind of open up and for Davis Mills to kind of just go out there all, you know, guns ablaze and just, you know, light it up. But I think the play calling was still reserved in the fact. And I think that the criticism was quick judgment. But if you go back and rewatch the game, for me personally, I think he had a decent game. I mean, you're talking about maybe 4 or 5 throws that were bad. And
7
maybe
to be
another,
exact.
yeah, and to be a to probably another couple plays that if he
Yeah.
was able to read the defense, probably would have turned out to be a better play and not a sack, or been able to pick out what was coming, blitzes that was coming, probably would have avoided, that second sack where he fumbled the ball. So yeah, he had some issues, but most of his throws were pretty on point,
Mhm.
and he drove the team down. With 30 seconds in the game, in the half, he had 30 seconds and he drove them about 55 yards down the field and scored, in the half touchdown to take the lead. Um, you know, I think people are kind of have blind. Certain people have blinders on with Davis Mills, and no matter what he does, if it's any inkling of not, you know,
Yeah.
greatness or whatever, then they harp on the little inkling of those bad throws and everything. People have to realize too that he played 2 series, probably about 10 snaps in that, or 10 to 12 snaps that first preseason game. He's still getting the jitters, and he's still kind of knocking the rust off. So if he plays the next game, he plays the next game, and hopefully he'll get a lot more time. But that's still up for discussion. But I want to get y'all thoughts about Davis Mills, and what did y'all see?
Yeah, well, shit. I mean, I'm rewatching the first half like again and again and again, and I mean, like, he definitely started off slow, and he did miss throws, and like you said, I think you kind of got to take everything with a grain of salt, simply because, like you said, vanilla play calling. You know what I'm saying, and excuse me, vanilla play calling and so on from like Pep, but like I don't know, bro. I just see like this kind of like fire in him, man. Like, he doesn't like seem to like let, what I'm saying, a negative play just like completely just derail him for like the rest of like eternity. As you saw last year, what I'm saying, having probably the worst game of his career ever against the Bills, and then, progressing moving forward. I just kind of get that sense from him. I think there was times where I saw like frustration, what I'm saying, like frustration in him, like he would kind of walk off and like, but like he never looked like emotional, what I'm saying, but it seemed like and then I mean to play like that, like I said, but at the same time, people, bad game, this, that, whatever, could have played better, this, that, but I mean, we're talking like first play, first completed pass, like a strike to Nico. You know what I'm saying? He made some really nice throws, what I'm saying, throughout the first half. And then to like have one thing that stood out to me, y'all, what I'm saying, before I kick it, like stood out to me, it was like almost like it was 6-0. And if you go back and watch the end of that quarter, bro, like, what I'm saying, at the end of the third, like end of the second quarter, like 30 seconds left, man, you can see like the defense was confident, bro. The Rams defense was very confident, bro. They were barking, what I'm saying, after, Philip Dorsett caught that pass. Like it was like you could tell, like, I don't think that they thought they were gonna get scored on like that. And I
Right.
think to see Mills like drop his nuts and like and just like, it shows me a lot of positive, not just about Mills, but about the team. I think that this is a really gritty ass team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it, and that's all I gotta say. But I think that last drive like showed me enough to be like, it is what it is. Like, you can be unhappy all you want, but that is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Getting to the topic of our big boy Davis Mills, 10 for 17, 58%, completion percentage, 96 yards, 1 TD, 32 yards was his longest, and a 94.2 passer rating, which means nothing in the preseason. But we got to see visually how his mechanics look. We got to see a little glimpse into what his decision making might be.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see where he might stumble at coming up during this season is where his offensive line is, not giving him enough time to make strikes. It was one play where he had to scramble out of the pocket and he got sacked. And the footage that I have, I can't there's no or at least I haven't gotten a hold of the all 22. I don't know if y'all have.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he didn't have a man open or he didn't take the check down because there wasn't enough pressure until he held it too long.
Well, you talking about the play where he was rolling out and got sacked?
Yeah.
Chris Moore was open. Chris Moore was, basically doing jumping jacks wide open on that left sideline. What if you watch it again? Because I think Chris Moore, he posted on Twitter, he posted the video.
Mm-hmm.
You go back and watch it. Davis Mills was going through his reads when it was time for him to get to Chris Moore, to get to that third and final read or third or fourth read. As soon as he turned his head in Chris Moore's direction, the defensive lineman was in his face. So he had to, turn around and take off and run and missed it.
Yeah.
And, so you can see him going through his progressions and everything like that. I feel like I feel like that's bad offensive line play, and I don't think I don't think in the season you're going to get that, but I do think that, that was the cause.
You're gonna have some bad offensive line days to where they just can't seem to match up or catch up to what the defense is running.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have those days, and so like I said, it's not a lot to take from it except that simple fact that I would like to just see the wholeness of the offensive line and what is it gonna be. I think the next game we're gonna get our 5 starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be Tunsil,
Titus,
Green. It's gonna be the heavy hitter. So I expect for this conversation that we're having about Davis Mills of didn't wow me but didn't disrespect me to okay. I see what this could really, really be because he, like again, you mentioned and both of y'all mentioned, he made some strikes.
Mm-hmm.
He made some reads. He made some plays. He when he hit Nico Collins for 18 yards downfield, that was beautiful. Mm-hmm. That was lovely. And that's what we like to see. We want our quarterback, although you don't have a name for yourself, make one. Yeah. Be the red zone killer. Be something. But that's what I got from Davis. Is that I need more. That's what I took away from is I need more, and I really can't count on anything because it's preseason. But that's what I need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're gonna transition from that to let's start. Tuesday coming up is the next 5 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go in prediction mode. Who do you guys see as being the next 5 guys being cut off this roster?
Let me go first on this one. I can't really call it. Because the crazy part is there's about 3 to 4 guys in each position that could be let go, and either one we wouldn't bat an eye. I don't think there's anybody of importance that we need to be worried about who's leaving, because what are we making room for just in case we get another pickup, maybe another running back. I know we need another tight end. So and even if we do go out and get a tight end, who is he going to be? Do we know him? Like we won't, because it'll be some scout type stuff going on. I know who I would like for them to cut. A little Blacklock would be fine. A little Burkhead would be fine with me. Of course, Freeman is probably gonna be gone. So I that's what I got so far. I don't have a complete list. I don't know. Of course, if a cornerback leaves, it's going to be a surprise because all of them have been playing decent, and it's not enough film.
This is supersonic Wi-Fi from Xfinity. It's fast. So gaming with your niece.
I don't know what that is. We'll close it all down though. But yeah, that's what I got on my part. That's what I think, or what might happen as far as cuts go.
Yeah, you got you guys.
Man, I mean, Max Sharpen, Ross Blacklock.
Right. It's like
I mean, nah, I'm just being funny. Shit, I'm kind of in the same boat with Keys. It's like a lot of guys that like it, I mean, it would kind of just be like whatever, like okay, like honest, obviously, like I guess it's more serious for them, and it's a sad thing, but it is what it is. Like, I mean, Blacklock hasn't played well. Max Sharpen got dog walked back endlessly. We got two fullbacks. You know what I'm saying?
And they both might be good.
Well,
because keep them for what when you got nothing out of them, and then I think you might have ran 2 plays. So in both preseason games, unless something changes.
Yeah. For me, I think one person for sure is getting cut, and that's Chester Rogers. I talked about him earlier.
Yeah, you did.
Chester Rogers is probably gone, and I think anybody else, just similar to those 5 cuts that we had before, you're talking about bottom of the roster guys that probably won't or wouldn't have made the roster anyway. They were long shots anyway, just because it's just a small number. So, I think it's gonna be kind of end of the roster type guys, or special team guys that that get cut. I think now that the name is popping up to me, one of the guys I was talking about early in the episode about the Nick Caserio guys that he signed in free agency, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, they signed for $5.5 million a year over 2 years, and he is a glorified special teams player. He's not reliable on the field at all. In coverage against the run, I mean, he's just a guy out there. So it's just, maybe he's one, but I doubt it. You may look at, end of the roster guys. So I was just throwing it out there to see about predictions, and just because it's such a small amount, I know we got the guys that we know that should be cut over the guys that probably will be cut coming up in this next 5. So going on the prediction route, let's last topic of the episode, let's talk about what do you guys predict or what do you guys want to see in this last preseason game coming up on Thursday?
Go ahead, Leo.
Receivers separating. I want to see some guys like giving, because I mean, like, I want to see some guys getting open, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just, it seems like, because like, I think that's part of it. We all want Mills. Like, if we gonna criticize Mills, we gotta criticize, everybody too. I mean, like, hell, I'm just looking at a damn route where Chris Conley is on this motherfucker, and the damn cornerback ran the damn route almost as good as him, broke on it, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I think that, obviously it's nothing that's going to be done to like drastically improve the receiver room at this point, but what I'm saying, I would like to see, some guys creating some separation, what I'm saying? Still, like, to me, it's all about the offense to me. And I think at the end of the day, I think that while like you could scheme up defense, like Lovey can do what he can do, but at the end of the day, like if we have the starter of the offensive line is playing and we can't, get no push, then I mean I'm gonna be like, wow, what I'm saying? And I know that obviously when Cooks gets on the field, like it's gonna open up a lot of things, what I mean? But like I would like to see some receivers getting open, and I would like to see like some real physical like some more downhill, some just more push,
What I'm expecting to see is consistency, a little bit more continuity. I want to see that these undercuss players out there playing their hearts out, trying to make plays. I think Lubby knows and the staff knows who's pretty much on that team unless somebody makes a huge splash. I think we were just talking about him, the defensive tackle or defensive end. Let me see if I can pull him up real quick.
Talking about Derek Rivers?
Yeah. No.
Double up.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then I don't even know if Blacklock's gonna get in this game. If he's not cut by then, but I want to see him, show us why he should be cut. If that's a bad thing, he's not gonna show up. But just more continuity, more playmaking, more belief in the system. Again, I mean, like I said, I think we all know the starters. We just wanted to see somebody out there who we should say, man, that boy should be playing. And nobody has really put that out there to me besides Heinisch. And as I'm going down the roster, like everybody here is pretty much settled in my mind. You know what I mean? Damian Harris, Derek Rivers, Kursky, Heinisch, Kruger Hill, like, you already know who you're gonna get. I just want to see it all come together. I guess I just want to see it. I want a complete drive. I don't even think are we planning on playing Mills? This is the last preseason game, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna get the whole 2 quarters, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he should get 3, to be honest.
Somebody else is saying that too. Yeah, and so I just want to see the offense. I want to see continuity. I want to see that we're ready for week 1. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to lose. Can I say that? I want to lose because I don't want to go 3-0 or 4-0, whatever it is now in the preseason. I don't want to do that. I want us to lose this game, but come away learning something. I don't want all these motherfuckers think we're going 18-0 because we went 3-0. You know how fans are.
Yeah, the overreaction is toxic. For me, I want to see repeat performances. I'm gonna keep saying it every week, every breakdown we do of the game, every prediction we do. I want to see repeat performances. I want to see repeat clock management. I want to see repeat, performances from Braylon Arnold. I want to see repeat performances from Damian Pierce, from the first game if he plays this game. I want to see repeat performances from Derek Rivers. Want to see repeat performances from Double O, getting pressure, getting to the quarterback. He's been
Double O been all over.
He's been the consistent guy that has gotten to the quarterback. Both of these 2 preseason games, and he's showing the value.
Can we say a little bit more from Christian Harris?
Christian Harris?
I mean, not Christian Harris, but yeah.
Kirksey?
Yeah, I mean, is it Kirksey?
Christian Harris is hurt, so we're not. We probably won't see him.
No. Yeah, okay, that's what I said the right name. That's me. That's on me. Yeah. But Kruger and Grenard.
You talking about Gruger Hill and Kirksey.
Yeah.
We
gotta see more.
Can we see those guys, kind of level up like they did in this game? And, will we see them, repeat performances? It's, to me, consistency is a winning team's best friend, man. If you can be consistent and have repeat performances and you know what you're going to get out of that player week to week, then you can kind of game plan and scheme on how to win the game. Because you know what you're going to get out of these certain players. Offensive side of the ball, I talked about most of the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, want to see a Nico Collins have a repeat performance, be available. I want to see if Johnny Johnson can get on the field and have a repeat performance that he had in the first game. I want to see these guys that have potential to make the roster that, show flashes. Jalen Camp, he didn't have a repeat performance. I talked about it, but can he come back? Can he show some grit and come back?
I'm hearing he's a camp favorite though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing he's a camp favorite.
Yeah.
It's just a lot that we need to see coming out this game right here, because first of all we got to defend ourselves on spaces.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't get some of these predictions right, man, it's gonna be hard to kind of speak up and be like, nah. And we just need to, really move the ball like we've been doing, show consistency. Again, the whole thing is continuity and growth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all I'm expecting. Going all the way up to week 6. Y'all got to week 6, maybe week 7. Maybe week 7. But I got to see some shit. I really do.
Right. So I think we all in agreement that we're glad to have football back, that we're able to talk about it, able to break it down, in the way we're doing it, because we got football every week for the rest of the year. Yeah. It's 2022 on into 2023. So I'm excited. I know y'all excited. And
the next time we do this, I have my numbers together. I was actually expecting a cancellation, no cap. I'm like, there you go, counsel. So I didn't have all my Neo numbers in front of me going and stuff. I just got the laptop and I'm scrambling because like last time I was gonna be on the show, I had bookmarks, speaking points, things that I wanted to get to and everything. But then I'm thinking, somebody gonna happen, or either because when I seen you in cases earlier, I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna do it today. I'll be more prepared next time. But I do think we did have a really good podcast, and I think we got a lot of good talking points that kind of represent the general population of Texan fans. And I think that you guys do have a great mix of different personalities that can speak from both sides of the fans' perspective. So, comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah, man. So before we sign off, Keys, let's go ahead and shout out, all the platforms you on,
Oh man.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Yellow House Pressure Washing. That's my business. Shout out to MHN community, Virgo Nation coming up August 27th. Man Hell Nah podcast every Sunday night, 8 p.m. 18K subscribers, 2,000 in the mini community. Keys X Sports MK on Twitter, TikTok MHN, Credit Keys. I do credit repair. Mr. Fabrice on YouTube, man. I'm pretty much, I try to put my hands on a little bit of everything, man. So I'm pretty funny. Give me a follow. Also follow my guys Leo and AD on there. Great Texans insight. Went to all the Texan camps, man. So that's how I found them, in that Texas community, because they stood out. And so when people stand out, I latch on, because if they're informative, I want to be informed myself. So but that's where you can catch me at.
All right, man. I appreciate you. We appreciate you for joining the episode, joining the pod. I'm pretty sure. Not pretty sure. I know you're going to be on, many more episodes coming soon, man. I just want to thank everybody for, tuning in to this episode of BOP. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe, on our YouTube page, BOP, and our Twitter page, at BlackOn713. Y'all know what it is, man. We'll see you next time. Man, next episode. Peace, man.
Yeah.